Confidence for extreme severe weather to occur this week is continuing to rise as the SPC has now issued a slight risk for day 3 and the 15% chance remains for day 4. Storms are going to develop as early as Tuesday morning across the Midwest and continue to make their way across the plains and Dixie Valley as the week goes on, becoming more severe as KFAS not only increase but as well looking after some really intense supercells to develop specifically across the eastern plains and Dixie Valley between Wednesday through Friday. Shear as well is going to be very favorable in the atmosphere, and we're going to really be watching out as early as Wednesday for some big storms with a high chance of supercells this far out, and as well significant tornadoes. But we'll go into greater details in the video. Before we get in the video, I would recommend that you guys subscribe to the channel here. I'm really planning on doing a live stream, either on both Wednesday and Thursday, or just on Thursday, depending on exactly if Wednesday gets to an enhancers or not. But I'm looking to stream at least once this week. So if you guys would consider subscribing, you guys will get all the information on the live stream, which would be awesome, of course, as well. Hit the like button if you really enjoy the forecasts and videos like this, and as well hit the bell icon notification so you can get notified whenever I stream this week, and as well whenever I post and make videos overall throughout the whole year. But that would be awesome if you guys do all three of that. I would really appreciate it. But let's go ahead and jump to the forecast. So at the moment here on day 2, we actually, which is obviously going to be for tomorrow, or basically going through Monday to Tuesday, we actually do have a marginal risk here. So throughout the day of Monday into Tuesday morning here, we're going to start seeing a good chance for some slight severe weather to develop. Not a slight risk, but some scattered storms where we do have a marginal risk. Obviously, we don't have a big threat for tornadoes. The big threat's going to mainly be the wind and as well the hail. So we kind of do have two little small areas where we could possibly have some slight hail and as well some slight winds. But we have two marginals, one in Texas there. Early, we're going to be watching out this one up here in the upper Midwest, including areas such as Minneapolis, St. Paul, and as well even such as Rochester, and of course Eau Claire. So we actually do have around 6 million people all rounded up between these two marginal risks, but watching out for the wind threat specifically as well hail, but only have a 5% chance. So I don't think anything is going to be happening too crazy, but I would not rule out the possibility if we do have some pretty widespread hail based on the sounding what we're reading here in this general region by tomorrow into early Tuesday morning. So going to keep a close eye on day 2. Let's go ahead and take a look at now what we're going to be seeing here. So getting, let me actually move my screen a little bit so I can actually see. So moving here into the next really 37 hours or so, getting early into tomorrow or Tuesday morning, we're going to start seeing some scattered storms developing here. We actually do have two low pressures, one at actually both at 998 millibars. So we're going to really see a ton of moisture within the area here. And these are storms going to start blowing up here. Really, anonymously, we're not going to be seeing any patterns specifically, as we are going to be seeing just some really strong storms developing here that are likely producing some slight hail and likely producing some wind in the region. As you see, areas such as Minneapolis and the Twin Cities and portions of northwestern Wisconsin, which is where we have the marginal risk, we're going to see some pretty intense storms within the region here going overnight into Tuesday. And then within the next 48 hours or so, storms should move out the area, but we will start to see some scattered storms across Nebraska, which is where we're seeing some really warm temperatures. And as we get later into throughout Tuesday evening and getting to Wednesday mornings, when things are going to start getting really downhill for the plains. So now looking at day 3, which is going to go from Tuesday to Wednesday, we're watching a slight risk here, which is in the region. Specifically, we're really watching out for the Wednesday time frame. So the storms will start blowing up by Tuesday evening and then rapidly blow up by throughout Wednesday. So we do have a slight risk here in the region here, including around 5 million people, which are in this slight risk. Includes Tulsa, Wichita, Kansas, Springfield, Missouri, Olathe, and Broken Arrow. So we're starting to see areas of significant weather moving out of Dixie Valley and actually becoming more common in what we see usually in May. So I guess my forecast about was kind of correct, as I did say we will see some active Ozarks and as well Eastern Plains, and that's exactly where we're going to start seeing the severe weather ramping up for the first time this week, basically. So Tulsa, Wichita, Springfield, Broken Arrow, you guys know those, or if you guys are within those areas, I would really keep a close eye, as you do have a 50% chance for some severe weather. So keeping a very close eye on the probability, maybe for an enhanced risk. That's going to definitely be a topic that will be discussed quite frequently. I would not rule out the possibility by the SPC whether enhanced risk could very well be issued by at least by day 2, which will be tomorrow. And then we have a very widespread a marginal risk with only around 5 million people as well. and it includes Oklahoma City, Kansas City, Overland Park, Kansas City on both sides, and Topeka, Kansas. So kind of missing out on the largest cities, but I would not rule out the possibility if this slight risk could at least make its way a lot closer to areas like Overland Park. I would not rule out the possibility of making its way towards Kansas City and moving its way more into Arkansas. So I think there's definitely a good chance for an expansion of this light risk, which could lead to the possibility for an enhanced risk level up. And of course, we still have this 50% chance for severe weather. It actually has minimized a little bit now, kind of limiting itself from Missouri. So it's kind of sticking its way into much of Arkansas, much of northern Missouri, much of northern Louisiana, the tips of Oklahoma and Texas, and as well the tip of Tennessee. So kind of maintaining within the Ozarks and western Dixie Alley region. We do have around 7 or actually 6.5 million people under this 15% chance, which is going to be a slight risk, at least if it goes to day 3 like this. And it's going to be including areas like Memphis, Shreveport, Little Rock, Jackson, Mississippi, and as well Fort Smith, Arkansas. So really watching similar areas that I mentioned yesterday. Our Missouri has definitely been, I guess, taken out of the picture here. And I kind of was wondering throughout my video yesterday, like, wait, Missouri's not going to see any really nice cape whatsoever. So I did see the probability yesterday of them moving this risk a lot more to the south, which they have already done. And I think there's definitely a good chance that getting later into Thursday through Friday, we're going to be seeing as well a pretty big risk once they come through day 4 as well. So tomorrow's going to be very interesting. We're going to see if there's a level up for Wednesday and Tuesday, and see if there's a level up for Wednesday through Thursday, and see if they have anything on day 4 through Thursday through Friday. So tomorrow's going to be a very, very interesting day. So let's go ahead and take a look now at the main European model and see what they had to say for us. So looking at hour 75, which is going to be early Wednesday. So I'm not going to kind of focus on Tuesday since I kind of already focused on that. So getting to early Wednesday, late morning, we're going to start seeing some pretty strong storms developing across parts of the South Dakota and Nebraska. I don't see any potential tornadic activity, but some small hail and winds is likely. But as we go throughout Wednesday here, we're going to start seeing some pretty strong storms into the early afternoon hours here. Some pretty strong storms developing throughout Kansas and as well starting to make their way into Oklahoma. Of course, we do have the kind of cold front toward the west here, following with this low pressure. And of course, we do actually have the warm front as well, kind of making its way towards the north as well. So we're going to start seeing a pretty unstable atmosphere within this whole region here. So I'm going to be really keeping a close eye on Kansas, and that's going to as well make its way through Wednesday evening into Missouri, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. So going to really watch out for portions of the southern and eastern plains, so kind of right on the edge of the Ozarks. And it's as well going to be pretty significant risk, likely just out of Kansas City, just kind of to the south of Topeka, Kansas, and including areas like northwestern Oklahoma. That's going to definitely become a bigger threat as it make its way towards southwestern Missouri, near Joplin, and that's going to continue to be a risk as we go through Thursday. The similar low pressure brings some pretty significant storms here throughout Thursday early morning here across portions of Arkansas, Mississippi, Tennessee, Louisiana, which is kind of where we have that 15% chance. And that'll continue throughout the evening hours. Some pretty darn significant storms across portions of Dixie Alley, and as well some scattered severe storms are likely across as well the Mississippi River Basin and as well portions of the Midwest. And getting into Friday as well, some severe weather is likely on Friday, so I got to keep a close eye on Friday as well, because Friday definitely is going to be seeing the, I guess, highest cape out of all these days this week, and it's going to really increase in pretty significant storms right on the Gulf Coast and portions of Dixie Alley. And that even make its way towards even into the weekend hours on Saturday and Sunday. So we're looking at almost every day this week to have some type of severe weather. So keeping a really close eye on that. Let's go ahead and now take a look at the temperatures here. So kind of more starting that really that real widespread severe weather this week is going to definitely be by tomorrow morning here. And as a result of that, or because of that, we're going to be seeing some really warm temperatures, which is going to really keep some really high cape values even overnight. So Tuesday morning, early morning here, is when we're going to start seeing that really strong storms kind of popping off, and then gradually becoming less of a threat as we go throughout the Tuesday over day. And then, so it's going to really be kind of an overnight threat from Monday to Tuesday, and then decreasing in threat as we go through Tuesday midday. Even though we're going to start seeing some really warm temperatures, these storms are going to kind of really fall apart with these late morning and early afternoon temperatures, and temperatures really won't warm up until much later in the afternoon and evening here. But really, it's going to be a little bit too late for those storms to start developing. But now getting into Wednesday, so we're gonna see some pretty strong storms, of course, on Wednesday here. Some really warm temperatures across portions of the eastern and southern plains, including Kansas, Oklahoma, and then later into the Wednesday evening hours, we're still gonna see some pretty good temperatures in the upper 60s and lower 70s, and as well, very favorable conditions across Dixie Valley. These Cape Valleys are gonna definitely start accumulating up to the point where it comes to Thursday morning. It's kind of when the Cape Valleys are gonna really come in handy. Look at Thursday morning here, really warm temperatures, or Thursday afternoon or early afternoon. You're gonna start seeing some really warm temperatures really cranking up early in the day. This is gonna kind of be more towards the early afternoon hours. This is gonna be the early afternoon hours, getting the 70s there, and then getting to the evening hours, we're gonna get up to the 80s here, and even triple digits down there in Texas. So really favorable conditions between Thursday for some severe weather. Of course, right here it's gonna definitely be the close eye to watch out for, as we're gonna have a cold front just in the north of that region here. You can kind of see right there in the southern Midwest, and then making it way into Friday, even warmer temperatures actually get nearly widespread 80s, and as well some pretty widespread 70s across much of Dixie Alley. So really gonna start seeing those pretty favorable conditions, even going as far as even portions of the weekend. Even seeing some pretty good temperatures there on Saturday, and some pretty good temperatures there on Sunday. So we're gonna even watch out for maybe even some weekend weather, but nothing too crazy. But definitely the biggest day will be Thursday through Friday. Is definitely gonna be the close eye on, or something to keep a close eye on. And even Wednesday through Thursday, it's gonna be something to keep a close eye on as well. But look at the dew points here. Dew points in the early Tuesday morning hours in the Midwest is going to be pretty nice, actually getting the high 50s and lower 60s. So that's kind of why the overnight hours are going to definitely be the threat for severe weather. Because watch, look at the morning hours. Actually, let's go back to the morning hours. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong thing. So let's go look at the morning hours. You're going to be seeing some 50s there, some widespread 60s, and kind of see some widespread 60s across that area, across Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, which is kind of where we have that marginal risk. As we go Tuesday throughout the day, that kind of goes into 50s there, and even near the 40s. And then getting later into Tuesday evening here, that means that those dew points are going to really increase as well, getting to widespread 60s. And that's why we're going to start really watching out for portions of the eastern plains. They're going to look at Wednesday morning here, some widespread 60s here, upper 50s for dew points, not too shabby, but that'll continue to increase there as we go towards the east, getting some mid 60s down there, Oklahoma, Arkansas. That's going to continue to become a pretty big threat throughout Thursday morning. So really widespread 60s across Dixie Valley and portions of the Mississippi River Basin. Again, even Thursday, we're starting to watch for some severe weather up here in the Midwest. So can't just forget about them there. And then getting to Friday, getting their 70s on dew points. That's exactly what we're really watching out for Friday as well. That's going to carry on to Saturday. Going to get some pretty good dew points. There's still in the 60s and 70s across some regions, and then it'll carry on. But definitely really watching out for very widespread severe weather this week. Look at the Cape Valleys here. So getting into, I believe this is Tuesday morning. Yeah, this is Tuesday morning. Or let's go to Monday. This is Monday evening. So Monday evening is kind of when these Cape Valleys are going to really get at their peak there, getting nearly 2,100 joules per kilogram across portions of South Dakota, Minnesota, and even some areas nearly 1,700 across Upper Kansas. So some pretty darn good Cape Valleys for the start of the week here. And as we get later to Tuesday morning, we're gonna see some pretty good Cape Valleys up to over 1,000 in the mid thousands as well. So that's exactly what we're watching for some severe weather. Very scattered though, because we're still gonna be seeing some pretty limited amounts of energy there, and there will be some areas of pretty high caps. So Tuesday or Monday through Tuesday, Tuesday is gonna be very limited. But as we now get to Wednesday, that's gonna really change quite significantly. Now getting some pretty significant severe weather possibly across the southern plains and eastern plains, and get values of over 2,000 joules per kilogram. And as you get later into Thursday, we're going to see some pretty good Cape Valleys here across portions of Dixie Valley that will carry on to Friday, over 2,300 joules per kilogram, even some widespread 3,000s as we get into Friday. So really watching out for Friday as well for portions of the Gulf Coast there, Louisiana, Mississippi, and even going to get possibly over 4,000 joules per kilogram in Texas as a result of those very warm temperatures. Looking at the K index as well to see the probability of some pretty significant storms here or severe weather development. And as you see, getting to Tuesday morning, we are going to see some good numbers across portions of the Midwest, getting some widespread 30s and as well upper 20s across the general Midwest by Tuesday morning, getting nearly 34, 37. We're gonna get definitely a pretty good probability for some pretty significant storms. We're not significant storms, but severe storms with some slight hail and some slight wind gusts. But now carry on to Wednesday, it's going to really change. Now getting it up to possibly a 41 across portions of Nebraska and as well as 41 near portions of Oklahoma and Texas border. So we're going to start now getting towards the plains here, some big time development there. And to get some widespread upper 30s across the Ozarks and even nearly 45, or not 45, sorry, 41. Some widespread 40s there across Texas, not Texas, sorry, across Arkansas and Louisiana. And if you get making your way into Thursday, we're going to be seeing some pretty widespread 30s and as high as the lower 40s, near 41 and nearly 42. And that's going to as well become a bigger threat by Friday. Some pretty good numbers there, getting nearly 35, 38, and even near possibly a 42 across Louisiana and Texas. So going to really keep a close eye on for anything after Wednesday, or actually anything after Tuesday is going to, when things are going to start ramping up. Looking at the lightning flash density here to see exactly how much severe weather we're going to start seeing here, and actually where these severe storms are going to be. And it's going to be quite crazy here. So we're going to start seeing some pretty darn good storms here developing across the Midwest by Tuesday morning, or tomorrow morning. Some light storms possibly to develop across Nebraska. So we're going to see over 2,000 lightning strikes here within that region in the upper Midwest, and that'll gradually decrease throughout the day on Tuesday. But now getting to Wednesday morning, going to get actually over 5,000 lightning strikes across portions of Kansas, central Kansas to be exact. And that's going to carry on to Missouri there, still looking at 3,200 lightning strikes there. That's going to continue to go across Missouri, Arkansas, Kansas, Oklahoma, and of course making its way into Dixie Alley by Wednesday night into Thursday morning, getting up to 4,000 lightning strikes in Arkansas, and it gets some pretty widespread numbers of over 1,000 across Dixie Alley. And you're going to get, again, by Friday, some pretty good numbers over actually near 5,000 strikes there. And even going to get near 8,000 across Texas. So we're looking at still some pretty significant storms here to develop throughout these days. Once we get past Wednesday, you can kind of see past Tuesday into really late Wednesday. That's kind of when the trend's going to start really increasing for some big time severe weather. Looking at the amount of shear we start seeing here, and it's going to be pretty darn favorable for some shear. So we're going to have that low pressure right there. And we start seeing those straight line winds, and as well as some pretty significant shear making its way towards the northwest there. So it can start making its way into Missouri, eastern Kansas. So pretty darn favorable for we're watching for that severe weather across the Ozarks and southern plains over possibly 65 knots. So it'll be very, very favorable and a ton of shear there. And not getting to late into Thursday, it's going to continue to become a trend towards Dixie Alley. Going to get possibly over anywhere from 45 knots to some scattered air to 50 knots. And you can kind of see it right there near Dixie Alley. The Ozarks going to get possibly over, in some regions, 60 to 70 knots of shear. And then by Friday, we're going to see some pretty good shear as well across portions of Dixie Alley, getting anywhere from 40, possibly 50 knots. And still going to be a pretty similar scenario into possibly even Saturday in the lower Gulf Coast. Looking at now detailed into the Nan-3 kilometer as the severe weather is getting a lot closer from now. We're going to start really looking at the supercell composite index, or supercell composite parameter. And as we get later into the next really 56 hours or so into late Tuesday here, late Tuesday night, we're going to get actually pretty good numbers here, up to a 15, maybe even 16 on the SEP scale across portions of far southern Kansas and as well as northern Oklahoma. And even by early Wednesday, we're going to see some numbers of over 20, surpassing 20 on the supercell composite parameter scale. So it's going to be very intriguing. And since it stops at 60 hours out, we won't get the full numbers, but for sure, these numbers may even double as they make their way towards where we have a slight risk for these areas. So keeping a very close eye on that. And last but not least, let's go ahead and take a look at the significant tornado parameter. And we're watching for some pretty good interesting numbers as well. Seeing some widespread up to ones, even some twos there by late Tuesday across Texas in the southern plains. It's going to really gradually increase as we get towards Wednesday early morning, up to a 7, actually nearly 8 on the scale if you round it up for southern Kansas. So really watching out for some significant tornadoes, possibly, I'd say, across this whole area. So really watching out for this whole area course, significant tornadoes, but even down towards Texas, we actually may reach over a 5. So really keeping a very close eye on the southern plains between Tuesday night into Wednesday, and of course it'll carry on into Dixie Alley by Thursday and Friday. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Stay safe, and see you guys later in my next video, which will be my hurricane preliminary hurricane forecast, which will come out this evening. So I hope you guys are excited for that.